You slobs. Today we're going to talk about our thought process. Yeah, you too. Behind our video for us, we're going to watch some deleted scenes. We're going to respond to some viewer comments and questions from the video itself and in the live chat over there if you're here right now. And we'll tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. Sounds like a good time, right, boys? Let's party. I'm in. Let's do it. Lon, Joe, how are us doing today? What'd you think of us?
There was a time.
Oh, no. No. Not for 45 minutes. I can't take it.
Not for 45 minutes.
Even Lupita was like pushing it a little.
I really like this movie right up until the point where it tries to explain what it is. And when it tries to fill out its Wikipedia entry and stops being pure allegory. And then it starts to get rough. My first note I wrote down upon my Us rewatch was that, to me, it's The Shining if The Shining actually had all of the stuff that the conspiracy theories insist that's in it. Like, if The Shining was actually about all of those things, that's Us. Jordan Peele just had a lot of ideas and I guess was worried he wasn't going to get a third crack at it. I don't know.
Yeah, I think I put this in my notes as well when I first watched it. Like, I feel like there's a better version of this movie that just doesn't explain it. That's just like, you could sort of wrap it up in the same kind of way, but just leave it more ambiguous as to where did these doubles come from? And like, what do they really want? Like, what's their nature? Because yeah, he does manage to explain it, but it feels like it's so complicated. And it kind of doesn't work out when you start thinking about it later. Like, it sort of works when you're watching the movie, and then later you're like, and we deal with this in the trailer, like, there's just a lot of dangling threads where it's like, I don't know if I really buy this tethered situation.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there is something, like, genuinely haunting about, some repressed part of you or the dark side of you, the part you keep underground coming up to the surface to kill you. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know that the government started this super secret research lab. My question is, why does he keep doing this? I mean, he did it in Get Out. He did it in this movie. Like, I guess Hitchcock does it, as we pointed out in the trailer. Like, why is he afraid that we're going to dismiss this if we're going to be asking too many questions afterwards? Because this only generated more questions for us.
I mean, the dude loves Twilight Zone, obviously. So I think there's something to be said for a style he's maybe going for, where you have the third act guy come in and just be like, well, you see, here's what's happening in Psycho. Whereas I like the movie, like, it's beautifully shot, like it's incredibly creepy, and I just don't need answers.
Yeah, I'm not sure I totally agree. I mean, Get Out definitely has this beat where it's like the brain surgery and like, let's really dig into the explanation. But I almost feel like that's more what I wanted from Us. Like, you get, like, it's a ginger sort of sprinkling of an explanation, but you don't really need to spend that much time in that world exploring how exactly they're being John Malkoviching into new bodies. Like, the being John Malkovich version is like perfect. Like, that's, show me a graphic where it's like, no, it's like everybody's got a portal and then you enter their brain. You're like, great, I get it. Okay, done. And like, I feel like Get Out, it's still that beat, but it is more gracefully sort of managed, and it keeps more about the character and the scennario than, and now here's an explanation for this. Whereas Us, it's really like, wait, who built this facility? And what's going on with these rabbits? And like, there's so much that it's like too much too quickly, and it kind of falls apart.
Right.
But I agree with Joe. It's great up until then.
What were you saying, Lon?
I would say I agree with Joe that up until then, it's super effective. Like, it's a really good, clever take on the, home invasion sort of horror movie. I just don't like the last sort of 7 minutes.
Yeah, and I would just say it seems at odds with the rest of his filmmaking style, which is to kind of layer on symbolism and allusions and like kind of hints and nods to what he's really talking about, that to just state it, like to like you said, like do a printout of a wiki at the end. It seemed like it went against everything else he'd been trying to build towards, which was vibes and mood and metaphor. So There you go. It's a really good film. I would recommend everybody watch it and then come up with your own explanation. Don't listen to to what they have to say. Donnie Darko, your own fan theory into it.
That's another great example, actually, because the theatrical cut leaves it very sort of vague. Like, is this all in his head or whatever? And then the director's cut is like, here's exactly what's happening.
Yep. They put in literal excerpts from the book explaining it.
And like, no, the theatrical's way better. Like,
and look, when I was a young man, I very much appreciated here's everything that's in the history of time travel. But I'm not that young boy anymore.
Just play the Gary Jules song and send me on my way. I'm good.
All right, let's watch the honest trailer for Us.
From Scare Jordan comes his follow-up to the creepiest body swap movie since 9 Lives.
Oh, Madison, I've been a bad kitty.
In a smash hit packed with enough social commentary to trick snobs into watching more B-movie sci-fi horror flicks. I only watch for the complex racial allegories. That's, the Dred Scott decision. Us.
Pause. I saw one person in the comments who thinks that saying B movies stands for black movies. It does not stand for black movies. It is, although I don't know what it does stand for. I thought it was just like A, B, C, like grade.
Right.
It's like
A-list movies would have been like the big like romances and musicals that played on like huge theaters, and then B movies would have been genre stuff that was more niche that would play in smaller.
What do they think a C movie is?
Don't ask, Joe. Keep going.
Enter the twisted nightmare of having to spend time in the woods with your lame-ass parents.
You don't need the internet. You got the outer net.
Plus your dad's crappy work friends.
What do we say?
I hate you?
And some ashy relatives.
I was just so delighted to see Tim Heidecker and Elizabeth Moss in these roles. I do think that he has a great way of casting America's favorite white people as these side asshole characters in his movies, with Bradley Whitford in the last one. And now Heidecker is like, oh, good. He got one of the Tim and Erics. I think it was great casting.
Yeah, no, undefeated there.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's good too because it's a little bit of shorthand. Like, you kind of get who this character is right away just based on the casting before. Like, he doesn't have to do that much work before you're like, I understand who this guy is.
Yep. All right, keep going.
I hate you?
And some ashy relatives your mom never told you about in a film that black people can finally point to and say, hanging out with family sucks for us too, you know.
We made it!
Experience powerhouse dual performances by great actors unleashing their full range of crazy faces.
That's got to be fun, right?
Yeah.
Pause.
Anchored by
Yeah, you know Elizabeth Moss enjoyed shooting that.
Can we all do our best Us crazy face?
Yeah.
I ate rabbit.
Sarah.
I'm drinking an orange mango spindrift.
How did she do that, like, extensively? Like, that, I feel like you could hear her throat being scratched in real time.
I think it was like the Tenacious D, like, because I'm always rocking and I never stop singing and I'm always rocking, always singing.
Always rocking, always singing.
I think, she went to that.
She's probably a big fan of the D.
It's the Tenacious D method, yeah. Keep going.
Anchored by Lupita Nyong'o, making a futile attempt to not look like a goddess, who puts other actors to shame with her left tear duct alone. And Winston Duke, a man with truly frightening levels of BDE.
Hey.
Big Dad Energy.
I'm just gonna watch the Giants highlights, okay?
Apparently that shot of Winston Duke spread eagled on the bed was like, it gave rise to a lot of some feelings in some women. And like, I guess that's just the difference between the male and female gaze, because I saw that shot and I was like, ugh. He looks like that. What a slob! But I guess that's a big turn on. I think it's the thighs.
It's the thighs.
Yeah, we're in the era of like zaddy daddy energy, and like suddenly this is apparently more appealing than you would have thought.
It's the thighs and shorts.
I just felt like it was an unflattering angle, but yeah, I guess my eyes weren't on the thighs. But like, if you shoot someone from below,
keep your eyes on the thighs, baby.
Also, yeah, I mean, just like Black Panther sort of cemented Winston Duke as like a sex symbol, so now he's just got fans who are going to be into it. Whatever.
Yeah, put him in the short shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
Who wears dad shorts?
All right, keep going.
You know, in any other horror movie, he'd be the dumb jock who dies first.
Got a cassette player and everything. Leather seats. Glove compartment.
See what a real messed up family looks like with the arrival of the Tethered, doppelgangers with matching gold scissors, special op hand gestures, and Venture Brothers speed suits.
I look like Santa's magic janitor.
They're part of a subterranean clone
R.I.P. Venture
army
Brothers.
who walk like Sims. Talk like they spent the night doing Slayer karaoke.
When the shadow was hungry, she had to eat rabbit, raw and bloody.
And go down like a bunch of punks. What's so scary about yourself trying to kill you? No one sucks more than me. Follow
pause.
Jordan P.
I do think that the Tethered, look, they're a metaphor, it's an allegory, it's movie logic, but like, I don't know, this is America. Everyone's got guns. Like all they have is really the element of surprise, and they don't even use that. Like, they just kind of show up on your doorstep and wave. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think like in one version of this, like I feel like the thing that would be scary about the Tethered is like they're animalistic, like they're not civilized or whatever like humans, so they would just come at you and it's unpredictable and chaotic, and that's why they would be a threat. But they're not. They're like methodical, like a person. Like, here, we have a plan. Let me tell you what we're coming up with. So in that context, there's not really anything super dangerous about them. They're just like malnourished, and all they have are scissors, and like they kind of don't really have an elaborate scheme they just show up at your door and hope to scare you. And it's like,
that's why I like, they're allegories, you know, so much more than an explained lab experiment. Because there's something interesting to me about like, you know, we're taking the rage infection idea from 28 Days Later, and we're putting it in, instead of zombies, people like the Tethered who can still like focus it and think and process, and they're still, you know, very like sentient with it. Like that idea of just like, hey, there's generations of repressed anger and undealt with like just shit, and that's what they represent, and it's scary. Like, I like that a lot more than a man made them in a lab.
Yeah, and if you didn't have that explanation, you could have them do things like zombies, where you can hit them and they keep coming at you. Like in this, if you whack it with a golf club, it'd be like, that's it. It's like a person. You just like knock them out and then they're done. But like, like zombies, that's what makes zombies a threat. Like, they're slow and they're kind of slumping and they can't think good. But like, you know, you can hit them a bunch of times and they'll keep coming. You have to like cut off their head or, you know, whatever. Yeah, I think that some of the horror action could probably work a little better just because the Tethered aren't that much of a threat, but it's also just a funny bit to string together.
Give them like mech suits, you know, and then like they have bees in their mouth, and when they yell, they shoot bees.
Well, we're already going to the point of somehow they got driving gloves and scissors, so like they couldn't have just gotten like Glocks instead. Like, why stop it? Just give them swords at least or something.
It's symbolic, Lon. Keep going.
Follow Jordan Peele on his evolution into the modern-day Hitchcock, who crafts deeply unsettling mysteries, then dumps exposition on you in the final act like the last scene of Psycho.
He was simply doing everything possible to keep alive the illusion of his mother being alive.
Because while the Tether...
Sadly, the motivation I read about the screenwriter's motivation for putting that in there was they were afraid that people would watch the end of Psycho and think he was a homosexual. Yeah. So they had to put that scene in there explaining that no.
Guys, no, it's deeply Freudian and complex. It's not
that makes it even funnier in a way, because like originally in the trailer we had his whole explanation, and it's lengthy.
Yeah,
and the idea, and it's already sort of infuriating to be like, what? They just pump the brakes right at the end of Psycho so this guy can talk for 20 minutes? Okay, but like the idea that they were so worried about that they pumped the brakes is hilarious.
Yeah, there's so many layers wrong with like, they're worried that the audience will see him dressed in women's clothing and think, he's killed because he's a homosexual. Like,
yeah,
then that they needed to sort that out with the.
No,
with the
you
monologue
guys, it's because he's obsessed with his mother and has a split personality.
Yeah.
Come on, get your head out of the gutter.
Yeah, I mean, cast the first stone. Am I right?
Yeah.
Anyways, fun fact. All right, keep going.
As while the Tethered were scarily effective as an allegory, the explanation that they're actually an underground experiment raises a few questions, like, is there a Tethered for everyone in America? How is there enough space underground for them?
People
How
in the
many
chat,
people
feel
must
free
have
to add
known
your
about
own
these
to this
experiments?
list.
How did no one find out in the last 30 years? Surely they were using enough electricity, water, and raw materials to raise some red flags? Can the Tethered control their actions independently or not? If not, how are they executing this complicated plan? If so, why do they bother staying underground? Did the people who made the Tethered forget to lock the door on their way out? How do they have the same body type as their double if their diet is 100% rabbit meat? The Tethered ate the rabbits, but what do the rabbits eat? Where do they get thousands if not millions of red jumpsuits and scissors? How do they recreate everything in this small underground facility with just like classrooms and hallways? What about people who live in big apartment buildings? How do they make vertical differences? Are there just piles of poop in the tunnels? What happens to your Tethered when you travel outside the country? Do they just wait for you at the border, or do they keep slamming the wall like a video game character? What happens to your Tethered and subsequently their corpse when you die? Is my doppelganger's voice more epic sounding than everyone else's? Does Lenny's get paid for the creepy trailer remix if I got 5 on it, or just the radio edit?
That's the
So
most
grab
important
your
question.
buddies to take the ultimate horror Rorschach test, where you'll see a bunny and think, a clever nod to the black folktale tradition of Brer Rabbit. Or, Jordan Peele must have really hated his Toy Story 4 character.
To infinity and your mom.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Or, you know what? Sometimes a rabbit is just a rabbit. Now get your head out of your ass and go back to the stabby.
You understand?
Same.
Pause. In an interview with Jordan Peele that I read, he's just scared of rabbits. He just thinks they're creepy.
I like that reason.
Unless that's a misdirect for the interview where he's like, yeah, I just think they're scary. And like, he's really like messing with you and telling you to figure it out.
Oh, I assumed it was because rabbits breed a lot and you would need so much food to feed everybody down there that's why they went with rabbits.
Yeah, but like it goes beyond that. Like there's like the daughter's wearing like rabbits on her shirt and like has like there's like a lot of rabbit symbolism throughout there, more so than just like it's a food source.
Definitely. I was just saying, to me, that seemed like the logic. Like if you wanted to offer a explanation in addition to the motif of rabbits, it seems like that was what I assumed the explanation would be. Like, yeah, of course, with rabbit. What other animal is just going to repopulate? Although we brought it up in the, what are the rabbits eating? Like, how are you going to raise generation after generation? I don't see any carrots. Or were they growing lettuce somewhere underground? How does this work?
Oh yeah. It's no way to eat a bracer of conies. You know, you need potatoes. You need some mashed potatoes.
in the big waiting room that's around the entire U.S. border, where your Tethered sits when you go to Canada. I guess that's where there's hobbits cooking up all of these delicious conies.
You know, there's only one way to eat a brace of conies, Lon.
Yeah.
You too, Joe.
That's something I kind of do love about the movie is because, I was like, okay, what's everyone think everything in us means? And, with the scissors, they were like, what's up with the scissors? And he was like, well, hasn't really been a slasher with scissors. So I wanted to use an unassuming object that no one's really used. And so scissors. And then like, what I love about it is then the next like 4 paragraphs of the article were the writer being like, but here's what it could also be. And that's what I think kind of love about this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that clearly that was intentional. Like even if he's not letting on in interviews, and even if not, it's like, death of the author. We can say what it means because it's clearly like, sever the tether. You snip the tether with the scissors, and it looks like a dual thing. Like scissors, it visually works as a metaphor.
It's also it's an everyday thing that we all use in our lives and don't think of as being dangerous. But then if you flip it in this different way and see it in this new light, they're very dangerous because they can kill you. And so it's like in that us way of it's the dual nature. Like there's the thing we use it for, which is to cut things and be helpful around the house. But then there's this other thing where it could kill you.
Yeah.
And also I would add that there's a 90s Kenneth Branagh movie called Dead Again with Emma Thompson that's terrific, and it is also about a killer who uses scissors. So, come on.
Red jumpsuit?
No other elements of this movie, I don't think. Although, no, that's not true. It flashes between two timelines, and so both Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson play dual roles. So there is another Us connection, maybe a favorite movie of Jordan Peele's.
Same movie. Way to be original, Jordan. All right, let's keep going.
I should watch that again.
Kenneth Branagh, underrated.
A very good 90s film.
Starring Moms Kanata, Zora Neale Hurton, Thigh Master, Spaghetti, L'Oreal, Because You're Worth It, and Twins.
Pause. There were a lot of other Tim and Eric ideas for that. I think my favorite was aside from Spaghetti was giving the movie 5 bags of popcorn, but since it's a dual role, 10 bags of popcorn.
I was going to insist if we had included that one that we needed the voice to do it in an on-scene. Like I'm going to give it 5 bags of popcorn, but since there are 2 of them, I'm gonna go 10 bags of popcorn. Like you got, if it's not that halting delivery, it doesn't feel offensive.
So yes, everyone, if you didn't get those references, please watch the Tim and Eric sketch Spaghetti and the On Cinema verse.
Please watch all 12 seasons of On Cinema at the Cinema and Mr. America, the spin-off documentary.
All right, anyways, keep going. We're almost done.
Attack of the Clones. Based on how frequently they appear in movies, you'd think people are walking through halls of mirrors like every day.
Yeah. Right? It's another one of those things, like a kissing booth. They show up much more often in film than they do in real life.
Well, I was thinking when I was watching this scene in the movie, I was like, have I ever once in my life been in a hall of mirrors? Like, I'm not actually sure that I have.
I think I've done it like once as like a section of a fun house in a carnival. Like it's not.
But it's basically one of those experiences that we only think of in cinematic terms. Like it's a thing that's in movies that's not really in life.
Yeah, I've been in like a room that had different trick mirrors in it in a fun house.
Sure, but that's like the ones that make you look like super tall or short. Yeah,
I've never been in a hall of mirrors.
No, not like a John Wick Us, like full on, like you can't tell. It doesn't seem like it would even be safe or fun.
It's not.
No, I would panic.
Right, like what? Why would this exist other than it looks cool in a movie?
Well, field trip idea after this is all over. Meet you there. Guys, if you've been watching this long and far, you might as well sign up for our next Fandom 5 trivia show, which is October 30th, a week from Friday. It's about Star Wars. And if you sign up now and click the link in the description, you can win some real money. No Imperial credits, no portions, real cold, hard American cash. Okay. And I'm not sure what aspects of Star Wars it'll be about.
I know this.
Help us out.
It's the films, so all 9 movies plus the spin-off theatrical films. So don't worry about Ewok Adventure, Caravan of Courage stuff.
I mean, worry about it, but not for this.
Worry about the holiday special, but not for this. So the theatrically released films, including Solo, Rogue One, and then Mandalorian season 1. That's it.
All right. Seems easy.
So we're not doing Clone Wars, none of the animated shows either. Live action TV and films.
Great. Core Star Wars, if you will.
Only the real Star Wars that counts.
Yeah, the real stuff. Canon. Speak of easy, click like and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. I mean, come on, you've watched this much. Why not watch more? Click the bell, hit that like. And that should take us into our outtakes. What did we cut from this one with our scissors?
Probably at least 8 Tim and Eric references.
Yes.
I only watch for the complex racial allegories. That's, the Dred Scott decision. That's the raid on Harper's Ferry. Voting rights? In a film that black people can finally point to and say, hanging out with family sucks for us too, Is that why the kids are always wandering off to get snatched?
Jason! Jason! Jason!
Jason?
Jason!
I mean, if these were my parents, I'd take my chances with a bloody hobo.
We made it!
Not that bad. They're just.
I'm sorry, but one racist cop with a gun can handle this in an afternoon, and he wouldn't even have to plant a bloody leather glove.
Oh my God, it's OJ.
Starring 2 Petas?
Run, Zora, run!
I'm on a boat. Twinston Duke. Chip off the old M'Baku. I gave it 5 bags of popcorn, but it actually has double, so it's actually 10 bags of popcorn. Tim's awesome movie. Great job. Under their eye. And This Is Us? Oh, run! Sister. The Paired Red Trap.
And that's all. All right. Cool. Well, them's the outtakes. How about these comments? Adam Holbert writes, do you think Jordan Peele is really putting himself into the Winston Duke character? You think he sees himself as like a cornball, oafish dad who doesn't acknowledge the rumbling stuff just beneath the surface?
I feel like Get Out you could probably read as more sort of like informed by personal experience or semi-autobiographical. This one feels very explicitly like taking some ideas from horror movies and kind of recontextualizing them. Like I don't know if I would read any one person in this movie being the Jordan Peele character.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a personal film in the sense that like he is scared of or wanted to make a movie about like the fear of the things just below the surface of like the things we've ignored, and especially historically that we've like the underclass of America that's that we try to not pay attention to, you know, bursting under the surface. But I don't think that it's like a beyond his own. I don't think there was one character that stood in for Jordan Peele.
Yeah, and I mean, I think like working, like it does represent Jordan Peele in terms of like things that he likes and that interest him, and like movie genres and ideas that he wanted to explore in a way that was personally meaningful to him. I think there's a lot of that. Like, there's so many like family vacation kind of stories and tropes that he's like working through in this, and I mean that's personal in a way. But I don't think I read it as like, oh yeah, this is totally like Jason was him as a kid or anything.
Yeah. Daryl Giors writes, does it bother anybody that the Hall of Mirrors attraction is facing the beach where there's basically no foot traffic? Really bad pier layout design.
Yeah, I mean, I also read that as like, it's again, it's sort of in this hazy, is it metaphorical, is it real? Like, it's almost like when he sees the Zoltar machine in Big, where it's like almost supernaturally there just for her to find it.
Oh yeah, that whole attraction was like was the Hall of Metaphors. It wasn't the Hall of Mirrors. Like, it had a big thing outside that said "Find yourself," and then like it started out with Native American imagery, and then years later they like paved it over and turned it into like wizard imagery. Like, it was the whole. It's metaphors, people, all the way down.
It's very Disney.
Yeah.
Like, pay no attention to the racist animals outside this log ride.
It's funny too, because Knott's Berry Farm used to have an attraction. It's exactly like the original Hall of Mirrors that she goes to, where it was like an old Native American, like telling you stories about like the raven and whatever. And like every time I see this movie, it reminds me of that weird old ride. It wasn't a ride; it was like a show.
Sir Friend writes, I want to see Winston Duke and the TSA guy, I forgot his name, from that would be Lil Rel Howery from Get Out, do some kind of road movie. Yes, I would like that too.
Sure.
That sounds delightful.
Yeah. Put them together. Let's do it.
Lovetto writes, in honor of drunk SJU chat. Oh, congratulations. What movie would improve if the main characters were all drunk the whole time?
Ooh, wow.
Sorry to spring that one on you. I mean, would Us be better if everyone was bombed? Like,
the kids, if like the children were just drunk all that. I mean, I guess the Tethered are already sort of like, what would change? And Heidecker and Elizabeth Moss are drunk for the
they are.
Yeah, a heist movie, right? Like Ocean's 11, but they're drunk and they get caught and it doesn't work or something like that.
Yeah, we're gonna do this, guys. It's only gonna work.
That's just the original Frank Sinatra Ocean's 11. Like, they legit were drunk the entire time.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's one.
I almost feel like it would be something like Apollo 13. Like, you want it to be like people who are already in an incredibly intense situation. Then it's just heightened. Like, imagine if they're in Helm's Deep waiting for Saruman's army to arrive, but they're just bombed. Like that.
Apollo 13
that
is good.
I think is.
I like the idea of like Apollo 13 doing a disaster movie because I think that they would just like really take it in stride, like Cusack in 2012. It's just like, all right, let's get in the limo.
Yeah.
We're just gonna go. We're just gonna go.
I guess Poseidon Adventure, it like does open during a New Year's Eve party, so they're at least buzzed when the accident first begins. But yeah, I'd love to see like Dante's Peak, but Brosnan is just like he's already had 8 martinis. Like, there's lava over here.
There's a lot of movies that I think would be improved if the actors had been bombed, like while filming.
And a lot of your favorite movies where the actors were.
All right, final question, you guys. From Charles Clark, very important. Did the Tethered also go through a Papa Roach phase? I think they did. They would have had to.
If you did, your Tethered did.
Those
and if Papa Roach existed, there was a tethered Papa Roach. There was a tethered P Roach down there doing
Are the
shows.
tethered Papa Roach like awesome? Because they're the opposite of our like. Is their version of Creed like the best band?
Wow, interesting. But the Tethered weren't the opposite. They were just like
they're just
made too many photocopies of your face. Like
their Nickelback is just like wow. Don't even go there.
Well, I think their version of Papa Roach is scarier because the Tethered are supposed to be all of the like unsurfaced anger and aggression that like you haven't expressed, and Papa Roach pretty much came out swinging with cutting their lives into pieces.
Oh, with the scissors.
This is already their last resort on this side. So imagine what they're going through underground.
Yeah, I think honestly, chances are Papa Roach was like a very sunny pop punk band that went into that Hall of Mirrors and just got switched out. So they are.
Right. Oh, right. They switched just like in the movie.
Papa Roach are tethered. You heard it here first, people. All right. Well, that was fun. Please continue this discussion in the comments below because I know we got a lot of prompts for you. What movie would be better if everyone was drunk, and what would Papa Roach sound like if they were tethered?
Yeah. Imagine for us the tethered Papa Roach.
Please join us again next week for more hijinks, where we will be talking about something. It's hard to get a read on it, at least on the face of it. It's tough to get a read. So you will find out exactly what we're talking about when you come back next week, right here, different time, same day for Honest Trailer Commentaries. Thanks again for watching. See you later.